Today, on Be Something Wonderful, you create your own reality because you are your own reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Here we are on the beautiful Ha Long Bay, Vietnam, and I have a really powerful lesson for you today. This comes from a client that I just heard from after a few weeks. And just to put it in perspective, our first session, he said, Tom, I've had coaching sessions before. I'm not new to reality, the idea of creating your own reality. He goes, but I've been known as a difficult client. So here he starts off, right, telling a story that he's difficult. Well, he just wrote back and he just said his mind's blown. He gets it. We're going to have more coaching sessions together. He went from preparing himself to be a difficult client to really getting it. And I want to share this because we now have over 1,100 videos now between both channels, between the public channel and the membership channel. There'll also be a membership channel video coming today, guys. So stay tuned. And it feels like we talk about the same thing, but guys, this is expansion. This is reality creation. You are God. You are here to expand, to create, to extend love. So I really want to hit this. So here's the thing. He was talking about all the questions that many of you ask. What about incurable diseases? What about chronic illnesses? Right? What about conditions that just seem impossible? All of that, right? And he goes, what's going on? He goes, I'm a good person. I've been imagining, I've been assuming, I've been wanting it really, and I have a strong intent to create my own reality. But then there's all this other stuff. There's all these conditions that happen, that feel like they're happening to me, and I know they're not happening to me. I get it that you say they're happening through me. All of this came out, and I'm going to step into this today, guys, and we're going to unpack this like we never have before. Remember, you can have anything you want if you give up the belief that you can't have it. This is Bashar. Bashar, I love this. You can have anything you want if you give up the belief that you can have it. It's just that belief, our propensity, right, to disbelieve. Just like my client, believing he's difficult. He just wanted to come in and be a disbeliever, right? He wanted to really disbelieve, right? Really wanted to find something with it. And we really had a great session. And now we're going to have some more. Remember, God always says yes. The answer is always yes. No is not part of that love. It's not part of infinity. It's not part of creation. We make up the no's. We make up the doubt. We make up the contrary conditions. We make up the opposites. We make up these things that we call negative. It's all made up. It's all coming from you, me, and others, right? As we want to call forth what we want, but then we start doubting it, right? We're quote, programmed to disbelieve, right? So no and not are made up. They're illusions of your linear mind, of your linear mind, of your linear thinking, right? Of your lower mind thinking, of this 3D world thinking. We're just programmed to say no, or I can't believe it, or show me. Like all the spiritual greats say that believe it and you'll see it. We want to see it and believe it first, right? Then we'll believe it. But guys, this is not how it works. All that is love, that isness, it always is yesness. It's isness, it's yesness, it's yes, it's yours. So you already start out as a fully evolved, fully complete, infinite, divine being. And then you come into the 3D world to remember that. You're already having it all. So if there's struggle, if there's disbelief, if there's doubt, if there's this attitude of show me, like my client, show me, Tom, because I'm difficult, and I've been through dozens of coaches, so I'll just go through you too, right? Jen, show me. So he's getting it now, and I want to show you then, guys. So what about incurable diseases? What about chronic conditions? What about toxic people? We get this all the time. Tom, I'm surrounded by toxic. Guys, there's no other reality. Here's what Seth says through Jane Roberts, that channel entity. You create your own reality according to your beliefs. right? Your point of power is in the present. There's only now. And you're an absolutely unlimited being. These three things are all you need to know about creating your own reality, right? It's based on what you believe, that concept of yourself, right? That assumption. This is why the law of assumption is so powerful. This is why a lot of spiritual teachers talk about self-concept, but it's not something you got to work on. It's not something you've got to make into something. You already are that concept. You already are divinity. You already are all that is. But we come into it saying, prove it to me, Tom. Tell me. I've been through coaches. I'm just going to go through another one here. Right? I'm gonna chew you up and spit you out, right? That's what we want to do. But guys, remember, you're just coming from doubt. And we got even into the question of, Tom, show me practical steps. This one of you wrote on the channel that. I get that, but what do I do every day? Well, that's what that question, that practicality, your desire to be practical about it. Your desire is to only deal in that 0.00001% of seen reality, because that's practical. That's what I see. It's solid. But that just keeps you tied. Hear this. Those practical steps, that practical viewpoint, keeps you tied to that 0.00001% of solid 3D that you deem as solid 3D reality. Right? And you never are able to see that more than 99.9% unseen, where everything you want is right there, but you're yet focused on practical steps to understand the solid reality more. Right? Be still and know I'm God. That's the step. We're going to unpack it more, of course. And there are plenty of processes, and I've talked about them. I've given steps. I've talked about those in videos. I've talked about different processes and steps and how to get there. All of that's there. But there's nothing bigger than the giant step, the quantum leap, our understanding that you already are all that, right? That you are God. You just need only to be still and know it. Only to be still and assume it. Only to be still and claim it. That's really what I want to get to today. So, you're only ever perceiving your beliefs and assumptions, right? Bashar says this. All the spiritual greats talk about that. Remember, you're only seeing that. You can't see beyond your assumptions and beliefs. You can't see beyond this idea of prove it to me. You're only going to get a reality that requires more proving. Bring me something else. Bring me something else. I still don't believe. I still doubt. I need something solid. I need something more. You are the reality. Remember what Seth said. You're sitting in the miracles of yourselves, asking for signs. And he says, it's your inner eyes I would open, right? Remember, there's only one source, and you are that source. Source does not ask others what it can be. Source claims it. Source assumes it and becomes it in the assumption of it. Do you see it? You are only ever feeling source energy through your thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs. Right? Source is pure positive energy and awareness. You are that. It's not even about conjuring feelings and thoughts. You're already that pure positive energy. You're already that thought of God. You're already the highest elevated thought there is. That's who you are. Right? But when you think contrary to it, when you start doubting it, that's where all those other thoughts and feelings come from. Right, those doubts, right? You're only ever feeling source energy. Yet, when it feels like a negative sensation, when it feels like something's incurable, something's chronic, right? All of these things that you come up. Remember, when you're asking about an incurable disease, well, you've labeled it incurable. You can't get beyond that. If you say it's chronic, it's chronic. You define reality in your assumption of it, in your belief. So what you believe is incurable has to be incurable because you're God, you are reality, right? What you say goes. That's your truth. If you say it's chronic, it's chronic. You create that reality right in that moment. Do you see it? If you say there's toxic people around you, you'll never see them anything but toxic people as toxic people, right? You create it all. You are that source, right? And that source is flowing through you, through your beliefs and assumptions. You condition it through your beliefs and assumptions. So if there's a negative sensation, if there's a view that there's toxic people, if there's a view that there's chronic or incurable diseases, that's all being limited. That's all being coming through your assumptions and beliefs. You're filtering out entire realities with what you assume and believe, right? I am the Lord, there is no other. That's you. I am the law. I am the Lord. I am the beingness. I am the awareness of being, and there's no other. There's no other awareness of being. You are that. That's the one law, right? So there are many laws, right? Law of attraction, law of assumption, law of correspondence, law of vibration, law of resonance, law of reciprocity, law of cause and effect. My client was talking about all of these, right? How does it all fit? Guys, it's all of these laws fit into the one great law, the law of being. The law of being divine, the law of being all that is, the law of being God, the law of being infinite intelligence. That's the only law. All of these are talking about that. Who do you say you are? Who do you say I am, as Jesus asked? Because that answer determines your whole life experience. That determines what you attract. It determines what you assume. It determines what you correspond with. It determines what you vibrate with. What's your resonance? What kind of things are going to come back to you? What's the reciprocity? What's the cause and effect? All of these can be summed up as the absolute law. The law of being, the law of awareness, if you want to call it that. I am. You are that absolutely unconditioned, infinite, unlimited being. You have all knowing, all power, and all presence. So the question is, why is you are all knowing, you are all power, and all presence, and you're asking me, right? I don't mind the questions, guys. This is just to give you to point you back. I'm always wanting to point you back to your inner authority, to your inner power, that you're absolutely unlimited. And whenever someone tells you or talks to you about limitations of any kind, that you can't have this, that you can't attract a specific person, that you can't have a lot of money, that you can't have all of that, that doesn't resonate with you. That doesn't feel right. That doesn't sit right because you're an infinite being. Your source is saying yes, 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 you can, yes, you can, yes, you can. That's all source says, right? That's why it doesn't feel right to you. All knowing, all power, all presence. The law of assumption gives you the master key to creating from the viewpoint of your true nature. That's why the law of assumption is so powerful. That's why Neville Goddard's teachings are talked about by so many channels, thousands and thousands, right? The law of assumption, the law of being, in other words, the law of your self-concept, who you're defining yourself to be, gives you the master key to create from that viewpoint of your true nature, of your true beingness, of that awareness of your awareness, right? That's powerful. So everybody may look like they're at the same party, right? But each one is experiencing reality wholly unique to them based on their, not their, but their, THEIR, vibrational mix of thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Do you see it? Abraham Hicks talks about vibrational mix. Frequency, we can talk about correspondence, but all of it gets back to assumptions. That determines everything. That determines what you're going to correspond with, what you're going to attract, what you're going to vibrate, what your frequency, all of that, right? All of that determines that. There are infinite vibrational frequencies or realities or versions of yourself. It's all the same. That's what we're talking about. They're parallel. They're only parallel in the sense that they're all simultaneous and they're happening right now. And you get to determine that by your mix of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, right? There's never anything to do or change out there. Because really, that's what the intent of that question really is. I get it. Our focus always goes on something out there. That this person's treating me right, this person's toxic, or I have an incurable disease, or there are incurable diseases, or there's chronic illness, right? But even as you label those, you believe in those labels, you believe in that it's incurable, you believe that it's chronic, you believe that they are toxic, and so you can't see another reality. Because you filter out entire realities based on those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Because why? You're not thinking about reality. You're assuming as reality. You're thinking as reality. You're feeling as reality. You are reality, right? There's nothing. So change your beliefs and assumptions, and your experience of reality changes. No thing or person ever changes. Right? Because a lot of those questions come from trying to change something out there or even change yourself. right? Your 3D self, thinking that you've got to heal yourself or fix yourself or prove yourself. Just leave all that. Go within to that higher being, that higher power. That's where the change is made. That's where the true self-concept, that's where you align and correspond with the fullness of who you are, right? Because you're always, no matter what you do in a 3D linear sense, it's never enough because it's always 0.0001% of all that you are. Do you see it? So any change there will never be enough. You want to go within and know that you are the whole, and then decide and choose from that point of power, from that point of presence, right? From that point of divinity, what part of that, all that is, what part of all you are that you want to experience next. That's what we're talking about. So you, by changing, will simply shift yourself to a parallel reality that is more representative of the vibration you prefer and populate it with people who are also more representative of that frequency. This is Bashar. And I brought this up with this client because he was talking about being surrounded by toxic family members and toxic people at work. There are toxic people all around, but remember, that's all you. That's your reality. That's a parallel or alternative reality, a version of you that you're in right now. That's a lifeline that you're choosing by telling that story, that you're choosing by assuming those toxic people are there. You're creating them, you're putting them there, you're putting everything there. Guys, you're creating the time, you're creating the space, you're creating the things, you're creating the people. All of that comes from you. This is Bashar. He says it right here in terms of vibration and frequency. I love that because it ties all those questions in. What's the difference between law of attraction and law of assumption, all of that? Remember, it's all the law of beingness. It all fits, it all ties in, right? All other parallel potential realities continue to exist. Do you see it? So you're focused on that one, but all those other realities, where you're surrounded by people that you deem loving and not toxic, where you're surrounded by that ultimate reality, that ideal reality, everything that you want to be, do, or have, that exists as well. They're all there. They're all there in potential. And you get to choose and decide what potential you're going to focus on, right? With how? With what you assume who you are, with what you claim who you are, right? What you believe and assume about yourself and others, right? Anything not a vibrational match to your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions is filtered out, not to perceive by you. In fact, you filter out entire worlds, entire universes, entire realities, right? Based on your frequency, based on your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. Why? Because you are reality. So you can only see who you are, right? That's it. You can only perceive who you are being. That's the law of being. That's powerful. So what's going on? This is what my client asks. What's going on? What's going on? But Bashar answers it. So here it is. What's going on is only going on in your reality. Right? Let me be very clear. This is Bashar. When we talked about each of you having your own reality, this was not a metaphor. Here he's really strongly making this case that you are reality. It's not just that you create your own reality. You are your own reality. Whew. That's powerful, right? This is not a metaphor. We mean it literally. We mean it physically. This is Bashar. You are each your own discrete, distinct, parallel universe, completely and totally different. Remember we talked about this idea that everyone is you pushed out, that your assumptions are reflected in the world. Yes, it can. That's the only way it can be, because you are reality. Your whole world is you, who you're claiming yourself to be. There is no other. You are your own reality. You're always thinking, assuming, and believing as reality, not to create it or change it out there. This is what this, quote, difficult client, who's now a softie. Maybe he's still difficult. I don't know. I don't see it. Right? Difficulties is not what I usually focus on, right? So I don't see it, but I love it, and we're going to have a great follow-up session, I know. Remember, you create your own reality means you are your own reality. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for joining the membership channel. Thank you for staying with me. I know a few of my coaching clients, I moved some meetings today because we didn't have good internet where we were. on the bay here. And but we have those rescheduled. They're all queued up, and I think we have internet now, which is good, but it's off and on. Guys, the beautiful Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. This is Tom Kearin with the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, don't forget, we also have a Facebook group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. You can find us there at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. We have Instagram and Twitter account at Tom Kearin, or just go to our website anytime at tomkearin.com or besomethingwonderful.com. Creators, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, see you soon.